all these AFC teams losing. And just a couple weeks ago, the Bengals were 5-2 and the Raiders were 5-2. All of a sudden, the Bengals are 5-4 and the Raiders are 5-4. Kind of previewing this game between the Bengals and the Raiders, it's interesting because when both these teams were 5-2, they were exceeding expectations. The Bengals were first in the AFC North. They were also first in the AFC. The Raiders were first in the AFC West. And then all of a sudden, both these teams lose 2 straight games, not playing, great. The Raiders recently lost to the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. They also lost to the Giants the week prior. The Bengals got humiliated by the Browns in the week prior. They lost to the Jets. So both these teams, had one loss where they got humiliated. In the other game, prior to that, they had games where they should have won and they just did not end up winning. And it's interesting because, when this Raiders team is 5-2, obviously they lost 2 straight games. But, with everything that's happened with Las Vegas this season, you look at the John Gruden situation. You look at Henry Ruggs. With his car accident and everything like that. You look at, Damon Arnett, threatened to, shoot a fan on social media. It's just crazy with this Raiders team right now. And the fact they've went through so much adversity and they've still, have played pretty decent despite now only being one game over 500. And the Bengals also only one game over 500 now. And when you're 5-2, that's great. You're exceeding expectations. But when both of these teams lose 2 straight games, now you're kind of where you kind of thought you were going to be, in that 5-4 mark, kind of for both these teams. And to me, this is going to be a really good game. I honestly think this could go either way because, heading into that Jets game, in my opinion, the Bengals are the top 10 defense, and the last 2 games have been atrocious. We gave up over 400 passing yards against Mike White. Everybody loves to talk about Mike White, but at the same time, I feel like we kind of prevented that some because over 150 of those passing yards were just to running backs. In the week after, once again, we made Baker Mayfield look like he was an MVP candidate. Seems like every single time we play Cleveland, he plays great against us. So our defense has not really played good recently. And, this Raiders team, that they've been just super, super inconsistent. There's no other way to put that for the Raiders, honestly. And, they gave up over 40 points to the Chiefs recently. They weren't even able to score more than 24 points against the Giants the week prior. And it's interesting because with the Raiders, they have Darren Waller, who's without a doubt one of the best tight ends in the NFL. But they don't have, the top receiver. They had Henry Ruggs, and in that situation, came up, and they no longer have him. And, at the time before that incident, maybe they thought, Beckham could maybe go to the Raiders to kind of improve their wide receiver core. And you've seen the past couple of weeks, with them losing to the Chiefs and them losing to the Giants. The wide receiver core is very, very thin right now. They have Hunter Renfrow, who's nothing great. They have Bryan Edwards, who's all right. But when you play against a team who is more so, pass heavy, it seems like, than, run heavy. Because look at this Raiders team. There's only been one time this year where the Raiders have had a 100-yard rusher. And they kind of seem like they kind of tend to pass more than they run. When you don't have that star receiver, you have that tight end, but if you don't have that star receiver, it's going to be harder for you to throw the ball. And we kind of seen, the implications of that the last several weeks where the Raiders have lost back-to-back games. I feel like this game's going to be close. This defense for the Bengals recently has not been able to step up, but this Raiders team, offense-wise, has not been able to step up either due to their lack of depth at wide receiver. I'm going to take the Bengals in this one, not being biased. I'm going to say 27-23. It should be a really good game. I honestly do think it could go either way. But both these teams being 5-4 originally, they were 5-2. I feel like whoever loses this game is more than likely out of the playoff picture because you're looking at these two teams right now. They have a significantly hard schedule the remainder of the year. The Bengals, most every single team they play for the rest of the year is 500 or better, except for the 49ers, who, they would totally be 500 if it wasn't for injuries. Then you look at the Raiders. They still had to play the Chiefs again. They still had to play the Chargers, the Broncos. The Bengals, all those teams are, 500 or better. That's not including their other games as well. So I feel like whoever loses this game is more than likely out of playoff contention. It's a must-win for both of these teams because you do not want to start off 5-2 and then all of a sudden be 5-5 because that's kind of what happened to the Raiders last season. Last year the Raiders started off 5-3, started off really, really good. They finished the year 8-8. So if the Raiders would lose this game and start to kind of go in a losing streak, it's not something they haven't seen because they saw it last year. Can't wait for that game. Hopefully the Bengals are able to get the win.